Hello, fellow chemists. In this video, we're going to take a look at temperature conversions and go through how to convert between Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit. This is labeled as a basic video because there is no background information that is necessary for you to understand any of the problems that we're going through on this slide. So let's get started. So at the top, I have what water freezes at and what water boils at in all three of the temperature scales. Ice is 0 degrees Celsius, 273 Kelvin, and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And water boils at 100 Celsius, 373 Kelvin, and 212 Fahrenheit. Those numbers are useful to know so that when you're doing these conversions back and forth, you can kind of check to see if you're getting the correct answers. And just kind of the way that you could do that is if you know that water boils at 212 and 100 Celsius, and you're using one of these formulas to convert back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit, let's just say take the 212 Fahrenheit, stick it into the formula, and you should get 100 Celsius as the answer. If not, then that means you're using the formula wrong. So that's kind of why I like to have these references up here so that whenever I am using the formula, I can always just check to make sure that I'm doing the order of operations correctly. So where did these three systems come from and what are they about? Celsius is probably the easiest one to explain. It is based on the boiling point and freezing point of water. In Celsius's scale, water freezes at 0 and boils at 100. Fahrenheit is also based on water, but what the Fahrenheit scale is based on is 0 degrees Fahrenheit is the freezing point of water if that water is saturated with salt. So that's why the scale is different. And Kelvin, the scale is based on having no zeros in it, no negatives in the scale. So what it is looking at is absolute zero is the coldest that you can get in the universe. And that number is based on when you reach that temperature of 0 in Kelvin, all motion of molecules in hydrogen atoms stops. So hydrogen atoms stop moving completely once you get to 0 degrees Kelvin, and that is the coldest temperature that you can get to in the universe. So let's take a look at how we can convert back and forth between these three systems of measurements. I have up here, this is temperature conversions to get back and forth between Kelvin and Celsius. And then down here are temperature conversions to get back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius. If you need to go from Fahrenheit to Kelvin, you have to go first from Fahrenheit to Celsius and then Celsius to Kelvin. And we'll see that in one of the examples that we do. So if you're going back and forth between Celsius and Kelvin, all you have to do is if you're in Celsius and you want to get to Kelvin, all you have to do is just add 273 to your Celsius temperature. If you're in Kelvin and you want to get to Celsius, you just subtract out 273 from your Kelvin temperature. And then to get back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius, if you're Celsius, you multiply by 1.8 and then add 32. And then if you're in Fahrenheit, you take the Fahrenheit temperature, you subtract out 32, and then multiply by 5/9. The order that you do those operations is important. So you have to, for this top one here, you have to do this part first, multiply by 1.8 first, and then add 32 second. And for the bottom one, you subtract 32 first, and then multiply by 5/9 second. All right, well, let's take a look at some examples on how to convert back and forth between Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit so that you can make sure that you're using these formulas correctly. So in the first problem down here, we have convert 298 Kelvin into Celsius. So if we want Celsius, the formula is Celsius is equal to Kelvin minus 273. So this would be Celsius is then equal to, and our Kelvin temperature is 298, so 298 minus 273. So Celsius would then be equal to 25. So that's the first one. Again, when you're going back and forth between Kelvin and Celsius, all you're doing is either adding or subtracting 273. If we take a look at the second example down here, convert 37 Celsius into Fahrenheit. Well, when we're going to try and do that one, we need to use the second group of equations here. And 37 Celsius into Fahrenheit, you're going to need this equation right here. So Fahrenheit is equal to 1.8 times Celsius and then plus 32. So Fahrenheit is equal to 1.8 times 37 degrees for this problem plus 32. Fahrenheit is equal to, if you take 1.8 times 37, you get 67 plus 32. And then Fahrenheit, if we solve for it, will be equal to 99 degrees. So if you have 37 degrees Celsius, it's equal to 99 Fahrenheit. Now, for the last problem, we're going to take a look at going from Fahrenheit to Kelvin. And when you go from Fahrenheit to Kelvin, you actually have to use two of the equations. So when we go Fahrenheit to Kelvin, the first thing that we're going to need to do is use this equation here to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So that's the first step. And then once we get that, we're going to go from Celsius to Kelvin using this equation here. So that'll be the second step. All right, so let's get started. So it says convert 72 Fahrenheit into Kelvin. So we'll go to Celsius first. So Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32, and then times 5/9. So Celsius is equal to our 72 degrees minus 32, and then multiply that by 5/9. So Celsius is equal to 72 minus 32 gives us 40, and then multiplied by 5/9. If you take 40 times 5, you get 200, and then if you divide it by 9, you get 22.2. So Celsius would be 22.2 degrees. So if you had 72 Fahrenheit, you would get 22.2 Celsius. Now that's not our final answer. Now we need to convert Celsius into Kelvin, and we're going to use this second equation up here. So to convert Celsius into Kelvin, Kelvin is equal to Celsius plus 273. So Kelvin is equal to 22.2 plus 273. And that'll give us an answer of Kelvin being equal to 295.2. And there you have it. That's how you would convert 72 degrees Fahrenheit into Kelvin. All right, so these were 3 examples of converting between Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next video.